Mosaic Brands closing 500 stores. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heiser here and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from ABC News discussing Mosaic Brands closing up to 500 stores. Now we've been hearing about Westfield's take with regards to their negotiations with their retail tenants. And some of them are just struggling to be able to pay. Some of them are refusing to pay. Let's have a look at this. So Mosaic Brands, owner of Nonny B, Rivers and Katie's, to close up to 500 stores as the pandemic bites. 500 stores, everyone. I'm a fan of Rivers. I like their stuff. I don't go shopping very often because I'm dreadfully cheap. But still. The retail group behind clothing brands Rivers, Millers, Katie's and Nonny B plans to shut up to 500 stores following the financial blow of the bushfires, the pandemic, amid an ongoing dispute with a major landlord. Mosaic Brands said the leases on around 87% of its 1,333 stores are expiring over the next 2 years. It anticipates closing potentially 300 to 500 of those stores over that time period. The threat to permanently shut more than a third of its store network comes after 129 of its stores in Westfield shopping centres were closed by landlord Scentre Group, leaving hundreds of workers needing to be redeployed. Some retailers and landlords have clashed during the pandemic over if chains should pay rent and how much they should pay after foot traffic tumbled during the initial shutdowns, and some stores remain closed under renewed restrictions in Victoria. Now here's the thing. With retail rent, a portion of it is based on the profit that the shop is making to incentivize the centre to provide a good atmosphere and to attract people to the shops to increase foot traffic. But another portion of it is just a fixed amount. What do you think? What do you think, everyone? I mean, if you're an investor in a real estate investment trust, you want the money. You want these retailers to pay the money. Retailers can't. Maybe they should take legal action against the government. Maybe we'll start to see people argue for RentKeeper. We haven't had that yet. Has RentKeeper existed? Maybe I shouldn't have said it. Knock wood. It may appear. The announcement came as Mosaic swung to a $170 million net loss for the 2019-2020 financial year and said it would not pay a final dividend due to the ongoing uncertainty of the pandemic. Mosaic Chief Executive Scott Evans said the group had performed solidly in the first third of the financial year, but then its forecasts were utterly derailed. First by the devastating bushfires, remember when that was the big thing? Which directly impacted 20% of our store portfolio over the Christmas period, then by the pandemic, which saw us close all 1,333 stores for around 9.5 weeks, including the peak Mother's Day trading period, he said. In January, Mosaic had warned that consumer confidence in regional areas, home to 32% of its stores, was particularly fragile. And if we bring up here, we can just see consumer confidence. I mean, yeah, it's the less said about it, the better. So the rent dispute with Westfield intensifies. Today's result includes $49 million set aside for rental costs, but the company said it expected materially lower payments due to ongoing negotiations with landlords. In the statement, Mr. Evans put pressure on landlords, flagging hundreds of store closures, saying some but not all landlords accept the reality of the fundamentally changed retail rental market. Shuttered stores work for no one, so we aim to minimize closures, but not on uncommercial terms. The escalation of tensions comes as Scentre Group slashed the value of its properties by $4.1 billion, as its retail tenants struggled with an 8% drop in in-store sales during the first 6 months of the year compared to last year. Scentre said it had reached agreements with nearly 2,500 of its 3,600 retail partners, but included a blunt message to retailers not paying rent. Importantly, the structure of our leases with our retail partners has not changed and remains based on the mutual agreement to pay a fixed rent, it said. In response to Mosaic's announcement, Scentre Chief Executive Peter Allen said the group did not comment on individual commercial arrangements, that it continued to work productively with retailers. Mr. Allen said Centre had complied with a code of conduct mandating rental relief to small and medium businesses, but was forced to take action against bigger retailers. We've been applying the code to our mum and dad retail partners, he said. Unfortunately, in some cases, we have to protect our security holders and take action when large businesses with access to capital do not honour their obligations. Over the first 6 months of the year, Centre said it had collected 70% of the total rent it had billed, with the collection rate rising to more than 80% in the June and July quarter. Compare that to the other group we were looking at yesterday, or the day before. What was it called? Commercial property. Hang on, I'll bring it up. Commercial rent collection. There we go, Growth Point. And they were getting 97%. But they weren't touching retail, were they? They weren't touching retail. So rent tied to sales could prop up lazy retailers. Following the closure of its outlets in Westfield centres, Mosaic chairman Richard Falcone said the company had conducted negotiations in the spirit of sharing the burden of the impact of the pandemic crisis, with reports it had been paying Centre a lower percentage of rents in recent months. Another large retail group, Premier Investments, which owns Peter Alexander, Portmans and Smiggle, has also attracted the ire of landlords after shutting its stores and refusing to pay rent for the duration of the closure. After stores reopened, Premier said it would pay rent as a percentage of gross sales during the recovery. It's an incredibly challenging and complex relationship between landlords and tenants. When we talk about shopping centres, Gary Mortimer from the UUT Business School said, while Professor Mortimer sees some merit in the argument for linking rents to sales, he says it runs the risks of propping up poor-performing retailers. In the event we have a lazy retailer that's simply not doing their job and not making the sales that they need to, they're not investing in training or in their stores, they're never going to make great sales, he said. And if they never make great sales, they're not going to pay reasonable rent to a landlord. He said landlords are caught between maintaining or rising rents, which could see some retailers unable to survive with current challenging period, and reducing rents, which could result in cost-cutting on cleaning, amenities and refurbishment, leading to tired and old shopping centres. And, I mean, the Australian shopping centre market is different to the US. It's different to the US. I'll bring up a chart here that I want to show everyone. One moment. Once I find it, where is it? Here we go. Shopping centres. This is from the Shopping Centres Council of Australia. And you can see, look at the market size in the US, 703 million square metres. Look at their population, but look at the square metres of GLA, gross lettable area, per 100 people. There are 250 square metres per 100 people. So you could go shopping. Everyone in America could go to a shopping centre, go to a mall, and have 2 square metres around them. There you go. I mean, that's that's America. Compare it to Canada with 156. We're third. We're right up there. Compared to, next is Singapore with 54 and then New Zealand with 50. We are double Singapore pretty much, and we're double New Zealand. Double UK and Japan, nearly 3 times France. We're 5 times Germany, and 4 times China with regards to our square meterage of GLA compared to these other nations. So could that pose the risk where, we have these tired, old and boring centres? And then could I have the opportunity to create a YouTube series about dead malls in Australia? It's interesting when you go around and have a look. You can see, and I'll look it up here. I did one in Australia Fair. The retail recession hits Australia Fair, and it's interesting, and I'll bring it up here so you can see it. Just how tired it all looks and how they're hiding certain empty tenancies and all the things that they're doing. Check that video out if you haven't seen it. This is just a Sunday, walking around having a look. The entire parts of the food court's just empty. So, what do you think, everyone? Do you think Mosaic is acting fairly? Or are the landlords being greedy? Or is this market going to change? Is the constant just easy 4% rental increases. Is that all over? Maybe the good times aren't going to go on forever, and these landlords might actually have to work for their money. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Will you be investing in retail-based real estate investment trusts? As always, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your opinions down below. If you want to support the channel, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can follow us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or KuCoin. You can buy our merch from Heiser Says, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, have a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode.